Raiders of the Lost Ark is a beloved classic because Indiana Jones never fails. Oh wait, he failed in the opening sequence. Then again, and again, and again. But in the end, he was victorious. Kind of. Okay, bad example. Top Gun Maverick was a huge success because Maverick breaks all the rules and never fails. Oh wait, he almost died in the opening sequence because he broke the rules. In fact, for the past 30 years, he has been kind of a loser.
Who said anything about loser?
Fine, he's not a loser, but his old rival is an admiral, and he's decidedly not. Okay, another bad example. Toy Story was a huge success because when Woody loses his place as Andy's favorite toy, he handles it with dignity. Actually, no, he knocks Buzz out the window, then spends the rest of the movie trying to get him back home to clear his name. Did you notice something? All of these characters, the heroes, failed, sometimes miserably, and yet we like them. Why? Because human beings fail. Like 21 Pilots said, don't trust a perfect person and don't trust a song that's perfect, which I'd play, but I still don't really get how playing music on YouTube works, so I won't. Seeing a character fail makes them more relatable. It makes them more believable. It makes us root for them. Now, I'm not talking about dumb mistakes like horror movie characters who do the cliche, let's split up and wander around the dark to find the killer type stuff.
I'll be right back.
In other words, they act in a way that makes them unique, that makes them them. If every character acted the way every person would in that situation, there's nothing interesting about them, nothing compelling. The best kind of mistakes define a person. Not a temporary brain fart, but a mistake because of an innate flaw that the person has that they have to overcome. Like Maverick, who refuses to follow the rules. And the mistakes they make must have consequences. Sonny, speaking out of turn in the meeting with Sollozzo, led to a mob war. Luke, leaving Yoda before his training was complete, almost ended in disaster. And keep in mind, Yoda reminds him of his failure at the cave, not his easy success in the cave. Walter White could have gotten out of the meth game with enough cash to take care of his family for life. More than once, but his pride forced him to go back for more. So when a character makes a mistake, they either have to learn to overcome the flaw that led to that mistake and grow as a person, like Woody learning to accept Buzz Lightyear even if that means he's no longer Andy's favorite toy. And if you're wondering how Indiana Jones grew as a person in Raiders, well, throughout the movie he keeps getting warned that maybe the Ark was not meant to be found, that maybe humans didn't deserve its power. In the end, he shuts his eyes while the Nazis open it. He's come to the realization that he wasn't worthy of what was inside. And that's growth. If a character doesn't learn from their mistakes, then that mistake should be their downfall. A great example of this is the show that could have been the best in the history of television if they didn't screw up the last 2 seasons. I'm talking about Game of Thrones. If you haven't seen it, I'll try to talk not too spoilery, but it's going to get a little spoilery. The show's protagonist, Ned Stark, discovers a secret that could upend the realm. He could have just shut up and kept it to himself, but he had too much honor to keep quiet. He could have gone directly to the king, his friend, Robert Baratheon, and told him, but he feared Robert would have Cersei and her children killed if he did. So he went to Cersei to warn her and give her a chance to flee with her children. Yep, the most clearly evil person in the kingdom, and he had too much honor to not give her a warning. The entire trajectory of the series hinged on these mistakes. And it wasn't just a dumb, let's split up and look for the killer mistake. It's a mistake that defines his character. He's honorable to a fault. And he's not the only character whose mistakes cause things to unravel. Joffrey could have de-escalated things and kept the peace, but he went a different way. Because he's a psychotic a-hole. That led to the realm falling into chaos. Robb Stark won victory after victory, but he reneged on a promise to someone he underestimated, and that had disastrous consequences. The brilliance of the show and the novels is that every character is flawed, even the so-called good ones. And the so-called evil ones sometimes do things more honorable than the heroes. Jaime Lannister is named Kingslayer for killing the Mad King years before the novels start. He spends his life living down that mistake, but in reality, killing the Mad King was perhaps the most noble thing anyone in the series did. He actually sacrificed his reputation and his honor, but stopped the Mad King from destroying the kingdom. In the last 2 seasons of the show, the mistakes were made not by the characters, but by the writers, who completely forgot the nuance and complexity of all that had come before.
And he kind of forgot about the Iron Fleet and Euron's forces.
Oh, I'm not ready to talk about that. Turn the camera off. I'm just kidding, there's nobody else here. For more characters that make mistakes that have consequences, check out my novel, Falling into Shadow, coming out the last week of May 2025. You could hear more about it here. You'll like it if you like complex characters that make mistakes. Mistakes that have consequences. You know, like in real life.